Why do we tend to focus on negative things? Before we find the answer to this question, let's watch the following video. Count how many times the person in the white shirt passes the ball. You have a cheerful chat with a colleague, submit a report, and get praised by your boss. But at the end of the day, before you leave work, you realize you've lost your parking ticket. Halfway home, your car gets a flat tire, and suddenly it starts raining. At that moment, you cry out, "What the hell kind of day is this?" Meanwhile, all these bad things only make up a tiny fraction of what seemed like a perfect day for you. The origin of negative bias is explained as stemming from our ancestors' time. According to psychologist Britt Kanzler, negative bias is considered an adaptive evolutionary function from ancient times. Humans have always paid attention to dangers to survive. This reaction helped primitive humans avoid threats from predatory animals. For example, seeing a bush move would immediately trigger caution, followed by running if danger was perceived. Thus, from an evolutionary perspective, the tendency to focus on the negative is how the brain helps us feel safe. This form of negative bias helps us realize that our brains favor bad news over good news. And once you start focusing on bad things, you'll see negativity everywhere. This tendency is also used to manipulate others' psychology. For example, if you know your opponent in a presentation has a stutter, you might casually mention beforehand that you heard from older students that Professor A deducts significant points for performance if someone stutters too much, implying she prefers form over content. Relying on this tendency, your opponent will become anxious about their stuttering. They will focus more on practicing their speech rather than thoroughly preparing the presentation content, and victory will be yours. Ordinary French fries, but if you put them in a Marcono bag, kids will enthusiastically devour them. A child is reluctant to take medicine, but their parents put the medicine bottle in an empty milk carton, tricking the child into thinking they're drinking sweet, delicious milk. A couple clearly wants to send their child to their grandparents' house for a few days to go out, but they tell the grandparents, "Our grandchild misses you so much. They keep crying and insisting on going back to the countryside." Hearing about psychological manipulation sounds negative, but in reality, all of us either manipulate or are manipulated every day, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So, the rule of the game from now on will be, manipulate others before they manipulate you. The issue now isn't whether or not we're manipulating anyone, but rather how effectively we're doing it. Just like this video, when the title mentioned something negative, did you feel it resonated with you, leading you to watch this video until now?